Hi, and welcome. Last time I spoke of cataclysm, the, um, the imminent demise of a large section of the population of the Earth in just under 21 years. And I did say how about two-thirds of the population at the time, which will be around 6 billion people, according to Charlie, will be taken off planet, and they will go to a number of different planets, which will depend on their own level of ego soul integration. What I mean by this is our capacity to be connected with and guided by our hearts. At present time, the majority of the world population exists at around a level of 20% of ego soul integration. What that means in practice is that they are completely and utterly identified with the thoughts in their head, their ego. And humanity, at least that part of humanity which will be taken off planet, will need to rise to a minimum of 45% of ego soul integration. Now, what that means is the capacity to detach ourselves from the thoughts in our heads and to see ourselves in context. For one thing, we don't take ourselves so seriously. So to begin with, there will be... All right. So what I've been told, there's 167 spaceships. It's about 7 miles wide by about 1 mile deep. These are figures which are beyond our comprehension. We're talking a ship the size of Birmingham, something like that. And you say, well, where do you hide something that big? And they are around Jupiter, around some of the planets, Saturn, there is some in Venus. But suffice to say, they're beyond our ability to be aware of them. For one thing, because our technology is zero compared to theirs. I'm talking of a technology which is way beyond our comprehension. Way beyond our comprehension. They have sentient beings, which we would call robots, but they're not. They're way beyond. In fact, if there's any robots, we are the robots. We're so disassociated within ourselves. Like if I say to you, who are you? And you're going to describe yourself in some way or other, but you're unlikely to describe yourself as, I am a human being, I exist, I feel, I have a sense within me. It's a taste within me that says I exist, which I go through different activities, and this sense of me is there. Most of us go on a day-to-day basis, and what we're doing at one time, 10 minutes later, we're a different person altogether. We're totally disassociated from our experience within ourselves. We are so at the mercy of the thoughts in our heads. We are so at the mercy of the emotional reactions within us that there is no core. That core is something beyond our ego. The ego is a combination of the genetic DNA within our psyche, well, within our bodies, sorry, of the mind, the mental constructs, the abstract thinking that we generate, and the nervous system via the hormonal system, which generates hormones that generate electricity that runs through our nervous system to activate muscles. And we give a lot of credence to emotions, and unfortunately not enough credence to feelings. And emotions are important. I need to experience fear. If I go to the edge of a cliff, I need to feel that wrenching gut feeling that says move back. It's a biological necessity for survival. We have a much greater experience of possible emotions, but we struggled with some of those emotions because they were too intense. When we were young, we had real intense emotions that we couldn't deal with. The intensity of that emotion flowing through our nervous system, that electrical chemical energy, as it went through our system, it was too intense for us to consciously experience that and survive it. At least our minds, our computer, if you like, did not think that we would survive the experience. It shut off the electrical chemical connection to the muscles that would activate us in a certain way. It got suppressed. And so that bioelectrical chemical energy just sort of got stuck, and there would have been some muscle or other that would go into spasm. With most people, what went into spasm as we began to grow up was the diaphragm. And so by the time most people reach adulthood, that diaphragm is now seized up, with some people chronically. And what that means is that as soon as there is an intensity of emotion, people would try to breathe and they would be breathing with the upper chest, and no air would get into the lower part of the lungs, almost like the bilges. And so with the emotional intensity, there would come the suppression, then there wouldn't be enough air, the person would then begin to get anxious, and that becomes a norm, and it becomes a way of being in the world. But it also becomes a means of suppressing certain emotions. And when people become reactive, is because they struggle, those particular emotions they cannot deal with, they become activated. There's a whole variety of reasons why that will happen, but they become activated, and what comes up is not the emotion, it's a reactivity. And anyway, that's part of the problem of being a human being, and this is part of the issues to do with the ego. The human being feels threatened in some way, and so reactions come up. there's another way of being in the world, which is to do with our hearts, and this is to do with feelings. So if I'm in my feelings, and now I'm connected in myself, I'm in my feelings, and now you say something that begins to activate my emotions, I am now aware that my emotions are beginning to get churned up. I have a choice. For a little while I have a choice. I can breathe into that. I can connect with my body. I can detach myself and listen to what the other person is saying in context so I don't become reactive. And I can put myself in their shoes so that I can understand, comprehend what they're trying to share. They're aggrieved, perhaps in some way or other. There's something going on for them. My choice is to either react or to hear them. And they may have a valid reason why they're feeling aggrieved, what they're experiencing. And so there's an opportunity for dialogue and to sort it out. Most engagements between people which leads to reactivity are based on misunderstandings anyway, because we are so into our heads that we don't perceive the world as is. So we interpret what's happening, and as a result of that, we get the wrong end of the stick. And anyway, so that's how a lot of conflicts arise between people. And that is all part of the ego. And the answer to move beyond that is to go into the heart, where we can actually we become detached from the process in our own guts, because it doesn't matter how enlightened a human being imagines themselves to be. We're all at the mercy of our bodies and our emotions. And those will happen regardless. The difference is whether we react to that emotion or whether we experience it internally, but maintain enough separation that we can see, comprehend the viewpoint of the person who's got an issue with us for whatever reason. Yeah. So to go up in ego soul integration means to have greater and greater capacity for detachment and to experience the world as is. But no human being can ever reach 100% of detachment. It's not possible. You know, we all have physical bodies, we all have traumas, and it's just not possible. According to Charlie, the highest possible percentage of ego-soul separation is 87.9. So that's a long distance from the average 20% that most people are at. You can see the difficulty we're in, because the true humans in their spaceships, they are at a level which is closer to 95%. They still got a bit of ego themselves, but these are beings with long lifespans compared to us, and they don't have the conflicts that we have, for one thing, because they're telepathic. So their interaction with each other is telepathic. So they know each other's business. We're full of secrets, right? Human beings, we're full of secrets. We don't trust other people, not even our loved ones, to be ourselves. You know, most human beings, they would love to be with someone with whom they can just be themselves without having to be on guard. Imagine a race of beings who are interconnected, and they're not the Borg, they are separate, but there is no psychic secrets between them. Everybody knows what anyone else is feeling, what any thoughts that come into anyone. There are no secrets. For us, that's probably very scary. Anyway, they're at a level so far above us that there is no way that anyone below 45% integration can coexist in the same space as they are. It's like chalk and cheese. You just cannot, it's just not going to happen. And so as a result of that, the minimum level of soul integration will have to be 45%. And that is partly why I'm here, to share with you, look, what's going to happen is going to happen. It's inevitable. But most of you will be at least 45% come 20 years time from now. And I'm simply sharing with you, you got your work cut out. You have to get on with it right now. And as I said before, it's not all doom and gloom. As a result of a little window has opened through the dark clouds, which will be on this Earth, on this solar system, for the next 400,000 plus years. But a little window, 15 years, has opened up. And, you know, before the last cataclysm, humanity was not under the cloud that we're in now, and spiritual development was beyond our comprehension to the average human being today. What today is the exception was then the norm. And as a result of what happened 10,000 years ago, and this, I'll call it a dark cloud, but this energy that emanated into our corner of the galaxy, we went into a dark hole, into a depressive place where we became almost subhuman. And we've gradually, in fairness, some of us have been moving towards it, because we know at some level we do have an idea of what's coming, and we have been working to wake up. We have been struggling to wake up. And to wake up, when I speak of wake up, I mean, there's so many people that speak of waking up today. They speak about waking up to pharma, waking up to food, waking up to politics. And I speak about waking up to our hearts, to generate this sense of I am, I exist, I am here. The taste that says I am me, and I know that I'm me. I exist. I exist day in, day out, come rain, come shine. That is a feeling which is beyond words. It's got nothing to do with my head. It just comes from my heart. And it's in my body. And we need that. That is a prelude. We need that to move forward. Anyway, so as a result of I'm making this a bit long, sorry, I apologize. As a result of the fact that we're at such a low level, those who cannot go up to 45, they will be going down with the ship, as I said last time. I said this last time, they will go down with the ship. Their fear will be too intense. They won't be able to. Those who reach 45, well, there is a gradation. And so over a period of around 10 months or so, spaceships will suddenly appear on this earth about a year before the cataclysm is due to occur. And the first spaceships, which will not be very full, unfortunately, will be composed of those who've reached the highest level of ego-soul integration. And then there will be a scale, and over a period of a year, less, probably a bit less, the other 4 billion people will go in order to spaceships, and they will be taken to different planets. So not everybody's going to the same planet. Those who are at a much higher level of soul integration will go to specific planets where they will integrate with others who will be at that level, higher, but at that level. And the lowest levels, the ones who are at around 45, they will also go somewhere which will still be a heck of an improvement. And I mean, I don't want to make it sound like Shangri-La, but compared to this earth, it will be Shangri-La. And it's so rather than fear, the focus is on the amazing experiences for growth, development, and to be free of the oppressiveness that we exist under. I will stop there, and if you find what I share interesting, then please give a like, because it will help with YouTube promoting my videos far and wide, which I need it to if I'm to reach more people. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I will say more. Bye for now.